Hey everybody, it's Ibn Leon. I wanted to talk to you guys about a couple of things today. I was watching some town hall meetings on television yesterday, and you could see a lot of people, angry and screaming, and all kind of stuff. I understand, I get it, but you know, the more of these videos and stuff that I make, you'll see that I'm big into quotes, and reflecting on quotes. So I read this quote years ago, by this scholar named Ibn Uthaymeen. And what he said was, he said that evil has increased and so has good. So, it sounded like an oxymoron to me, when I first read it, but I just, because I think about things, I'm a lot more optimistic than I used to be, so I try to look at things, with the glass half full mentality. So I kept thinking about this statement, then it came to me, my understanding of what he was saying. What he was saying is that evil is definitely increased, but the possibility of good has also increased because evil and good are not equal. So if we as individuals, if we increase in good personally and with other people, then we can increase the good that's in the world. And people will recognize that because, again, evil and good, they're not equal. They're not the same. You know what I'm saying? Even like now, with the stuff that's going on, with the government and everything like that, most people, of course, Donald Trump, he has his 39%, but most people, they can recognize evil. They can recognize the evil of what's taking place or what's trying to be implemented. They can recognize that because evil and good are different. They look different. They sound different. So if we strive to do good, that will increase the good. So that's what I took from the statement that Ibn Uthaymeen made. And secondly, the second thing that I wanted to talk about was relationships. Because I'm not in one right now myself, but this is just from past experience and reading and study and stuff like that. I wrote an article some time ago. I put it on my blog, called Five Things to Revitalize a Relationship. Because sometimes, we be in relationship for a while and things get kind of stale, and we get bored with the relationship and and things like that, and people get frustrated, with their mate and with their spouse. So I wrote an article, you know, you know, detailing five things that we can do to revitalize a relationship, bring a relationship back to life. And I think these five things will be good for couples just getting into a relationship as well. And the first one that I wrote was communication, because a lot of times things get stale because the people that are involved in relationship, they stop communicating what they need and what's lacking in the relationship. They stop communicating those things. They stop talking about those things. We're at the beginning of a relationship, those things, we put those things out on the table. And what I said, one of the things that I said in the article is that how did you find out whether the person that you're with wanted to get married or wanted to have kids, and what were some of their likes and dislikes. Say you found those things out primarily by talking, by talking about those things, having conversations about those things. So why into the relationship does that change? No, we should continue that. We should continue to talk, and I don't mean argue, because sometimes we get so frustrated that something that we intend on talking about, we start arguing about. No, but the couple should always have the communication where they can come to one another and say, look, sweetheart or baby or whatever, affectionate term that you use for your significant other, and say, look, this is what's concerning me and this was bothering me, or this is what I think is lacking in our relationship. Maybe we need to work on that. So communication was the first thing that I mentioned. And then I'm only just going to touch on these things briefly. I'm not going to go into detail. I don't even know if people look at my blog, but it's on the blog. Secondly, was looking good, being presenting yourself in an attractive way to your spouse regularly. And what I mean by that, I don't mean outside the house, because most people don't leave the house looking shabby and stuff like that. So what I was talking about was inside the house, because most of the time after the relationship gets stale and you're living with your significant other, you start to become relaxed about your appearance around the house, with your significant other. Like, they've already seen me, they've seen me, for years or whatever the term of the relationship has been, so they'd be like, oh, well, there's no need for me to look good for the person around the house. I can look whatever way I want around the house. No, no. You should. We should always try to, you know, be in a. And I don't mean wearing tuxedos and gowns around the house. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about just, being presentable, having the hair done in a certain way, and and wearing, certain type of pajamas, that attract the other individual when they see them, even around the house. Just look good for your spouse, even around the house. So that was the second thing that I mentioned. And the third thing I mentioned was making time. Sometimes when the relationship gets stale, at the beginning we going out, we going to dinner, we going to the movies, we doing this, I'm taking you out to, to a spoken word club or whatever the case might be. And then, once we get in a relationship, things, we stop doing all that stuff. We just throw that stuff out the window. No, we should make time, and I mentioned in the article, I said, well, even if it's just sitting down, picking a night, maybe Saturday, something night when, you check each other's schedule and, I don't have to work and you don't have to work, and we just sit down and, get Netflix and, we watch a movie together. We get some popcorn and, a little chocolate or whatever. And we just sit, and just watch a movie together and enjoy each other's company. Even something that's simple, just don't throw that stuff out the window. Make time for one another, to be affectionate with one another and sit and, and cuddle and stuff like that. All this stuff, it keeps a relationship fresh. And the fourth thing I mentioned was to be playful, and this is broad, this is pretty wide, because it means being playful with your spouse, joking with your spouse, and and tickling your spouse, and and stuff like that, and chasing your spouse around the house. And it also means being playful, in a sexual way. There's nothing wrong with that as long as there's no pain, no pain involved. I ain't talking about no, 50 Shades of Grey type of stuff. that ain't, that ain't what I'm talking about, because that's, I don't even know what that is. But I'm talking about just, maybe playing a little dress up or, or something like that, have some toys, saying that they ain't gonna hurt the other person, just, being playful with your spouse generally. And then the fifth thing that I mentioned was being spontaneous. Just doing things, that are unexpected. It doesn't have to be a special occasion. It don't have to be an anniversary. It don't have to be quote unquote Valentine's Day. It ain't got to be no holiday. No, just sometimes, I show up, or you show up, man, and I got some candy or some flowers or something that your significant other likes. What I'm saying, maybe your significant other likes to go out and run, and you see that that her sneakers are starting to get wore down. So one day you just you have a little extra money, you go out and you buy some new sneakers. Just she ain't have to ask, you just do it. All of that stuff. Just be spontaneous is the point. It doesn't have to be anything that's contrived, or anything like that. So those are the things that I mentioned in the article, and those are the things that I wanted to talk to you guys about. And I hope everybody has a good night and just reflect on what I said, and have a good day.